Hi, everybody. Welcome to 6 Months Later, the podcast 180 Days in the Making, where we talk to interesting people about their lives, and then we check in with them in 6 months to see how everything's turned out. My name is Mathew, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host,
Tara Newton-Wordsworth. Hello.
How are you doing? Yay. Sorry to cut you off. How are you doing today, Tara?
I'm good, thank you, Matt. How are you?
You know, I am okay. We got a bit of good news on Friday. There is nothing wrong with our baby's heart, which is good.
Oh, I'm so relieved because that was just, oh my God, it was really awful. Like I just felt felt so worried for you, you know, so that's amazing. So were they right when they did the scan? Like, as in, was there something that they should have been looking at, or?
Yeah, there was what they called a slight protrusion or something from or prominence of a particular vessel that runs to the lungs. And they said that it all looks good. Everything looks within range. They're going to do another scan at 32 weeks, which is like an 11 weeks at this point. So they do a normal scan at 36, but they're doing an extra scan at 32. But like we had to go where we had the scan done. Like we had the kind of normal 20-week scan, and that's just in a place with a sonogram technician, and they just do a scan, and that's very normal. And then, but where we did this scan was like 2 floors up. So it was 2 floors more important. And and it was like in the proper like fetal medicine department. And they had a fetal cardiologist. And when they came to get us, you know, we went into the room where they were scanning. And then when we got in there, they were like, we thought there'd be one doctor. There were 4 doctors. And we freaked out a little bit. Yeah, because it was like, what is wrong that we need 4 doctors? But it turned out it was kind of normal. And I think one of them was just training. And another guy might have been just kind of there supervising training. So it ended up being not a big deal. But it was a bit, you know, when you walk into a room and there's like 4 serious specialists in there, it doesn't feel good. But they did all the scanning and everything looks fine. And yeah, so.
Oh man, that's such a relief. How's Alice been feeling?
She's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been feeling all right.
What about you? Would you say you were more anxious than Alice, or were you kind of feeling the same?
Yeah, I think we were both pretty anxious, like not knowing. It was a bit difficult. It was like, yeah, I don't know, just the not knowing and worrying about it. But now that the doctors have said it's pretty good, we had an all right weekend. Well, I had an all right weekend for about 8 hours. And then I accidentally woke up at 2 a.m. and looked at my phone and saw that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. And that was a bummer. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, as we all know, I'm not going to insult you by asking if you know who she is, but we all know who she is. But for the listener who might not know, Tara, of course, knows because Tara is up on the politics of every nation. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a liberal icon on the Supreme Court, and she fought for the rights of women for about 60 years.
Of course. Yeah, no, I know her work very well.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you brought that up.
She was the head of the liberal wing of the Supreme Court, and if Trump gets to nominate her successor, it will be ruinous. And so that was very depressing. And so I ended up giving a bunch of money to Democratic candidates, including Dana. I finally got around to giving Dana's campaign some money.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, then some voter registration organizations, and then some Senate candidates in the hopes of flipping the Senate and maybe preventing doom. So...
It's always so uplifting, this podcast, I find.
Yeah. Oh, but on a really positive note, here's those shoes I was telling you about. These are my new shoes.
They are very green, aren't they?
I like how green they are.
Yeah, I mean, they're a strong green. They're like a real like bold green. I like them. They're very you, I would say.
I like them too. I think I'm starting to finally break them in after 3 weeks.
That's great. Have you had a lot of blisters?
No, it's just like they get a bit uncomfortable. Like my toes feel like they're a bit sore. But I think now that I'm breaking them in, yeah, that's all right. What's new with you, Tara?
What's new with me? Oh my gosh, I had a night away. I went to London for a night and stayed with a friend. for the first time. It was my first night away from the boys in almost a year. And it was really amazing. Like, it was so, it was so good. It was just so fun. Like, we were just like drinking and went out for a drink out on the street, not just on the street, like in a pub, but on the street.
Just
and
in
then
a brown bag, you're just drinking 40s on the
just
curb.
in a park. No, we were like, and then we got back, had takeout, which is so nice because we just never get takeout here.
Right.
And it was just one of those nights where it was just so relaxing and fun, and then just like drank and like watched movies until like midnight or whatever, and then going to bed, and then knowing I didn't have to wake up through the night. And then I was meant to sleep in, and then I woke up at like 10 to 8 and was I'm absolutely awake now. So I like got up. But I mean, I didn't need any more sleep because I'd literally like slept through the night completely.
Oh, nice.
For the first time in, I don't even know like how long. So it was just that feeling of like literally sleeping from the moment you hit the bed to like when you wake up. Whereas most, like last night, for instance, Sam has a cold. So I was literally up like probably 8 or 9 times. And it's just like, I don't know how people do it. It's like this place between sort of sanity and like something like, I feel like I am reasonably sane, but I feel like there's always this sort of like, I'm just keeping it together vibe, you know?
Right.
But no, it was great to get away.
Now, does the friend that you visited in London, does she have children too, or?
No, she is a comedian and very, very funny, and she does not have children. And I think that's fantastic for her.
Valid choice. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that Alice, when she lived in Tennessee, for some reason, she was friends with a lot of new moms. And one night they all got babysitters and they all went out together. Alice was like, around midnight, I had kind of tapped out. And she's like, but the moms, like, they hadn't been out in a year. So they had like a year's worth of pent up energy and they were just raging all night. And she's like, they kept me out till 3 a.m. and I was so drunk and so felt so terrible. But they were just like, we never get to leave the house. It's so amazing.
I think I would have probably had more of one of those nights if we weren't living in a pandemic situation. Like, it was one of those nights where it's like you're still social distancing, and so it was kind of, I don't even know if clubs are open and stuff.
I think sadly they are, because I think the people who go to clubs maybe don't care as much about.
Are they open?
On Friday, we were walking down Cali Road, which is a busy road in Oxford, and because it was around 10, and most responsible places are closing at 10, and then there was one place we went by that was like a club kind of place, and the door was open and we could just see it was just rammed with people. So we were like, oh God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What's wrong with people? And
so worrying.
It is very worrying.
And also things are looking really bad at the moment, aren't they? Like, the numbers are up the most they've been in they're going up at like the same rate as they were at the beginning of lockdown, right? Have you been looking?
Yeah. No, it's
not great. No.
Let's just say it's not great.
So hopefully 6 months. What do you have? Do you have any predictions for 6 months from now?
I was really hoping you had a positive prediction, because I'm still really stinging from Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death.
Oh God, I'm so sorry, Matt. I know she was, very close to your heart. Okay, so don't
sarcastic.
Roll your eyes at me.
It felt like you were being sarcastic.
I mean, the truth is that was complete sarcasm, but I'm sure she was a wonderful person. I just honestly don't know anything about her, and but she does sound amazing. So
she was like the 87-year-old frail linchpin holding the whole country together, and now that she's gone, it feels like there's nothing to stop us. Oh my God. Anyway.
Okay, 6 months time. What are we in now? In 6 months? Be
late March.
Oh, do you know what? It's a beautiful time of year because you're just getting that sense that spring is coming. And like, it feels like things are going to be good again soon, like blossoms are coming out. I feel like it's going to be, maybe things will have got hard. Sadly, I think during the winter, I think we're probably not going to have a good time with COVID. And I think it might take us a little while to curve it. But I think that March will be actually the beginning of us coming out of it for realsies, hopefully.
You know what? I bet, and I don't want to jinx it, but I bet everything's going to be pretty damn good. I'm going to call it now. Everything's going to be amazing. No problems whatsoever.
Yeah. Great.
No, I think you're right. I think we'll be feeling a lot better about everything, if only because the weather's nicer. Anyways, shall we get on to our interview with the very funny Mr. Ian Aber?
Yes, love to.
All right, let's get to it. So welcome to the show, comedian and Atlanta legend, Mr. Ian Aber. Ian, how you doing today?
Hello.
Hey.
I still got my hands, bitch. I still got my hands. I didn't know if you knew that, but I'm doing good. And I got hands. So
I was all right. Well, that's 2 for 2. All right.
I'm doing well.
How's the finger situation? All 10? Still all 10?
Baby.
Whoa.
But yeah, I know, right? Whatever.
Oh, man. That was full of sass. I loved it. Just bringing all the sass.
Do we need to do it again? Do we have to start again? I'm sorry.
No, we do not have to start again.
No, I mean, that's why we had you on, Ian, to bring the sass. I knew that's what you would bring.
Well,
I brought from Atlanta, Georgia. Ian, how's your life these days down in hot Atlanta?
Well, I don't know if you've heard about the pandemic, but I'm just
this is news to me. So
it's good. Things are good in Atlanta. We've been basically self-quarantined since March. I've been out to obviously grocery stores and stuff like that. And we've done some outdoor comedy in Atlanta. So there's some socially distanced, everybody wear a mask, outdoor kind of sitch happening. Which it's not bad. You know what I mean? But it's not the same thing as regular stand-up by any means. So, but things are good. You know, in addition to just the regular 2020 stuff, I had a dog die. My husband was in the hospital recently. So, yeah, God, he's fine. He had a gallbladder. He had one of them gallbladders, but
he had one. Now it's gone.
He did. They snatched it out of him. But he's doing better. But yeah, it's just been a crazy year on top of stand-up is. You know, so many things have been affected, but stand-up is one of those things where it's it has indelibly changed as a result of the pandemic, and almost immediately, you know, in terms of people pivoting to doing, you know, Zoom shows or online shows. And then now we're getting back to doing outdoor. New York, they're doing a lot of outdoor. And then in LA, I talked to a friend of mine the other day and they're not doing any. You know,
wow.
Well, LA's kind of on fire right now.
Well, yeah. Well, of course there's that too. But before it was in a full smolder, they were still, you know, and it's just the difference of the two cities, you know, it's
right. But, yeah.
So things are rough in that regard, but we persevere. We're a plucky bunch.
Have you been doing the online stuff?
I definitely have. I'm actually going to be on a show tonight, the Star Bar, where I recorded my album and all that. They do they do a weekly online, and I was on a Planned Parenthood fundraiser on Friday.
Oh, cool.
And then I was on another show Friday where I had pre-recorded my set.
So how have you, do you enjoy the Zoom gigs and stuff?
I mean, it's not the same. I enjoy not having to put pants and shoes on, I guess is the real trade-off.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to wait. It's not it's a different, you're more comfortable, I guess. But you lose so much in translation in live comedy. The audience reacting could change the course of your set, even on a short set. And it's just not the same in Zoom. Zoom, you can do stuff to get them to interact. They have little reaction buttons where it shows them clapping or thumbs up or whatever. I make them sometimes comment in the chat. I'll be my closing joke is going to be crowd work. So what's your favorite dessert? And I'll tell you, you know, how you make love based on your favorite dessert is one of my that's my crowd work. That's my crowd work bit, which basically is if you say carrot cake, I'm you're nasty, you know, I hate you. But
all right, cheesecake. What do you got?
Yeah. Oh, cheesecake. You just like to lay there. You just like to lay there.
Wow.
Yeah. You didn't even say, because it was plain cheesecake. It wasn't even with toppings. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, well,
with toppings, at least you'll do it with the lights on occasion. But just plain cheesecake, you just lay there. There's you're just nothing. You're not giving any. But if the person you're with is like one of those like gymnasts that like to ride around on the pommel horse, then that works. You know what I mean? Like as long as you got a partner that wants to climb you like a jungle gym and you can just lay there. That's, you know.
What about pavlova?
Oh, okay. So you got some fancy fucking dessert. So like you're one of those people who likes to do all the fucking Kama Sutra poses and shit. Like, look how skinny and limber I am. Look, we did this one. You know what I mean? Like you can't just fuck regular. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have it's fancy fuckings. You're not doing regular fuckings. You're only doing fancy fuckings.
It's just so accurate. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow. Wow, Ian's really got our number.
So fun. I love it. I want to watch this. So can we? I mean, I don't know if we can tune in from like. Do you have to be in Atlanta, or can you literally be?
No,
anywhere?
like one of them that will probably still be around. I would say still be around when this is going to air, right, or be released. Is Star Bar happens every Monday night, 9:00 Eastern U.S. time, but on Twitch. So it's just on. You know, it's just a live stream, so you can tune in. It's like, you know, wherever you are in the world, as long as you can remember when it's 9 p.m. Eastern or 9:30 Eastern in Atlanta. Which is actually shut the fuck up 30 if you're at the show, because that's when everyone needs to shut the fuck up because the comedy's about to start. So,
Oh, fantastic! Okay, well I'll check that out.
I think that'll only be 3 a.m. here.
Something like that. Yeah, it's probably 3 a.m.
If it's 3 a.m, then I will not be checking that out. I'm really sorry, Ian. But just quickly, if you're in the UK and you can't tune in to Ian's shows live, you can listen to Night Sugar, his album, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Really enjoying that. And I love the one about the teacup dog on the plane. And, the woman, like, just, I don't know. I think that you capture that so beautifully, like that moment on the plane where you're like looking at people coming towards you and you're like, please God, no.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've had that so many times.
I've flown a lot over the years, and that's definitely like I don't know what it is about me, but people feel like that they can talk to me.
Yes.
Really?
Too.
And I don't approve of that. I've had a lot of people like tell me a lot of just a bunch of like I flew cross country one time, and the woman in the seat next to me was a Christian erotic romance novelist.
Wow.
Not that I asked. And then she spent 5 hours talking to me about like all the different levels of romance novels. You know, like what's a classy romance novel versus one that's just, you know, they start fucking on page 2 and they keep fucking every 5 pages or whatever it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I've had a lot of those where I'm just like, what did I do? What did I do? Did I smile?
Wow.
And then just get
See,
I always have it too. I'm too kind.
No, I don't get that at all. I feel like I give off a vibe of do not talk to me. And
that's what I think I'm doing. I think I'm giving off do not talk to me. I mean, look, I'll eat a whole rotisserie chicken sitting in an airplane. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's a conversation starter.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you won't leave me alone, I'm eating my rotisserie chicken.
I think it's that you have a cherubic face and a very welcoming beard. And
I can't move very fast, so you'll be able to get your whole story out. I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah, you've got a nice twinkle in your eyes. I think they look at me and they're like, I'm dead behind the eyes or something. And they're like, this guy's gonna, if I give this guy any personal information, he's gonna stalk me till I die. And probably his hand, you know, it's like, I don't know what it is. Like nobody talks to me, which I feel like I'm a worse comedian for it, because most comedians have stories where people talk to them. And I'm like, nobody didn't talk. And I was like, I don't know. Cut that part out.
And then it just doesn't go anywhere. That's your like plain stories. Like, so no one.
I have it all the time. Like the last show, the last out of town gig I did was I went to Memphis, Tennessee. Not to brag, but I go to Tennessee. But
why would you brag about Tennessee?
Get it? That's not okay. Never mind.
Yeah, but I got it.
But so I went to Memphis and I went to check into the hotel before I went to the show, and there was like a cheerleader convention or something. So it was all like little girls with giant bows in their hair and like ponytails and stuff. And I get on the elevator, and it's all like teenage girls, and then their mother, who's probably my age, right? And she looks at me and she goes, and she's drunk, and she goes, "Oh, are you in town for the Santa Claus convention?" And I said, "No, I'm in town for the Crooked Banks convention. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll see you there tomorrow." And I get off and like it was like silence. And she totally did this too. She went like touched her bangs or whatever. Okay,
my
so
God,
and that's this
amazing.
kind of shit that people just say to me. And so then the next day, I go to check out, and I see the woman again from across the way, and I think she's going to be like pissy with me or whatever. But instead, she points. She says, "My daughter fixed them. They fixed them. They're straight now." So.
Amazing. Oh my God, I love
so
that.
even when I'm being like a
straight
complete
away.
asshole, I'm still like changing people's lives. Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
you're
Like,
right.
For the better. That's
It's
beautiful.
like they fixed them. They're straight now.
The worst I had on a plane with someone talking to me was this guy who was like a pastor, I guess, or like a preacher or something. And he basically ended up telling me that he was like having an affair. And then I was just like, you should probably stop that. Like, isn't it kind of like against the Bible or whatever? Like, I don't know. It was just it was one of those things where you want to be anywhere else. You're like, I just want to be sleeping. Like, this is the sleeping part of the plane and journey. Like, can you just leave me alone? But I don't know. I'm just that person that just, it's the sweet, it's like like you have a kind face. Like, I look at your face and I think you're a kind person. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what,
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, maybe not as much, but no, Matt, actually, you have quite a kind face.
I feel like I cut an imposing figure, and people are intimidated by me.
You got the face that goes at the front of the human centipede. That's what I'm saying. That's all.
Oh well, hey, that's all I've ever
God.
wanted.
I mean, you want to be at the front if you're going to be part of it.
I mean,
honestly, yeah,
that's a compliment. That's the compliment.
That's the catbird seat right there.
Oh Lord, that is an image. Wow.
I think the only really memorable conversation I've had like that is one time I was on the mega bus I think I was coming from Atlanta to Knoxville. And I remember having a conversation with a man who was showing me his like government issue phone. Like I got one of these free phones from the government, but he's like, but that's how they track us. And I was kind of like, you know what, dude, we're on the mega bus from Atlanta to Knoxville. The government doesn't give a shit where we are. Like, no one cares.
Wow.
Like, nobody's tracking us. But
I always feel like if anyone's tracked, like if we are being constantly tracked, I'm like, how can they still? I mean, we are, but also like, how can they still like lose a plane in the sea and not know where it is? Do you know what I mean? Like that makes me think, like, how can we? Like, shouldn't the tracking be better?
Because all the phones were in airplane mode. So
right, of course, obviously.
So then they wouldn't be able to track any. If anybody left their phone on, maybe.
Well, it's like the joke. Why don't they just make the whole plane out of the black box material?
Right. Besides like comedy and things, what else is going on with you these days?
Besides just stand up, I guess I am writing more. Like I wrote a pilot this summer, sitcom, and I'm working on another one right now. I'm actually taking a class. That sort of by the time you're done, you have a start of a pilot. So been working on that, and I've been writing articles. I've just started writing articles for a website that I won't name because I'm doing it sort of under a pseudonym, but I'm writing articles like that are reviews of gay porn websites.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, is it the Daily Stormer?
But I'm writing like a very like these sort of like humanistic like ones where it's like, it's not just a review, it's like, oh yeah, the cum shots are great, but also small batched and artisanal and cruelty free and or whatever. So yeah, I've just started doing that recently. So it's like just a little side money hustle, just something to do. You know what I mean? It's like one of those. The opportunity came up and I submitted one, and they liked it, and I'm like, okay, well, and the money's decent, so it's like,
is it a lot of like when the guy said he was the plumber. Like he sold it, like in his eyes, you could tell that. He really
that and maybe like so. The first one I did was on gay vintage porn. So I was like basically like I did it like okay, well if this one was when the first porn was created was in 1920, then we're in the centennial year of recorded gay porn, of course. So then we now stray and go look at all the different ages of porn and what is vintage porn by modern terms. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, yeah, it was just one of those, and it's silly. It's like, of course it's like, yeah, all the 70s and 80s shit is vintage, but also, the stuff that before 9/11, the year 2000 porn is now 20 years old. So it's also vintage in its own way, you know what I mean? And then just sort of it's all for like SEO, like, clicks. So it's
right.
It's just to show up in all these searches. So it's like it is legitimate reviews of these sites that have all the whatever material that we're doing the review on. But then the way I write them, I'm writing them funny, and you know what I mean. It's like I'm doing a little bit of research and being like, well, as a industry trend in gay porn, usually most tops are straight or whatever it is. The story is,
Are you so are you getting exhausted by the amount of porn you're having to watch?
Not really, because I'm like 47. I've already seen all the porn. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not really into recorded porn. Like I find recorded porn to be vintage.
I was wondering what you're saying. Recorded porn. I was like, wait, so
like pre-recorded porn?
I guess,
yeah,
like as cams. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
I don't really know anything about this stuff because I don't know. I guess I'm just like very married in a straight, very boring relationship.
Y'all don't watch
I guess
porn together. You don't just like put some porn on and watch it.
No, I mean, look, to be honest,
that's not a thing that straight people do.
I don't know, mate. I think they do, but I think maybe we just don't need to. I don't know. I mean,
I feel like y'all are getting all like red and English and stuff on me here. What's happening?
Yeah. You say you're like you don't watch porn because you're married. Like Ian and I are both married, right?
No. I mean, Payne and I will just like watch a porn like it's on HBO. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah. Put it on during dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, that's too much.
See, look at you. You're like, that's too much.
I feel like it's a mood thing. Like, just be like, should we watch the How to Get Away with Murder or
How to Get Away with Murder in the Butt? But
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe also, I have no idea. I've never really watched much, but I didn't even know about the live stuff. Like, I feel like I'm really behind the times. But
live stuff is where it's at, baby. Live porn is like
only account you want to plug now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I have an OnlyFans where I put more clothes on. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you send me if you don't tip me, I'm gonna take off the shirt. But the live cams and the OnlyFans and all that is like that's the model or whatever you call them. The performer is the one kind of so there's less people in between them and the money, and so it's actually probably the better. Nice. But more
ethical, I guess.
Then there's these like the live cams are like so if you watch these live cam models like in let's say Colombia or Eastern Europe, a lot of Eastern Europe block kind of situation going on. They only get paid. You will tip people with like tokens and they get 5 cents a token US, which in the US is not very much. But in like Colombia, that 10 cents is like, half 50 cents or whatever. You know what I mean? So like
a lot.
You can feed a family of 4 with like a couple tips a day. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
This is like a Save the Children ad.
I'm just saying it is in a way.
For only one masturbation session a day, you can feed a whole Colombian family.
You might be able to. And sometimes you can hear like you see the person on camera like just beating it furiously, and then off camera you hear the whole Colombian family like eating and cooking and like washing plates and vacuuming and you know what I mean, like a whole like there's a whole like just entire village of people behind them just living their lives and like talking and screaming, and so that's always fun too. I like those.
That's beautiful.
Sometimes you can hear the soccer match they're watching while
totally. And then there's the ones that should I keep going?
You know what? I can cut. I might cut some of this out, but I'm very fascinated.
Go as far as you want. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, well then there's the ones that are like that they're gay. That what they're doing on camera we're going to call gay. It's gay stuff, right? They're doing gay stuff on camera, but they live in a country where it's illegal to be gay, right?
No.
So it's like, yeah, absolutely. So that one's like where you're just rooting for them. You know what I mean? Like they're at any moment, so the knock on the door could be, the police coming to get them or whatever. Never happens though. But that's what they do. They're like, I live in a country where it's illegal to be gay. Tip me extra. Give me some extra.
Oh.
Can I get some extra?
Wow.
God,
I hadn't even contemplated that. I find it. Sometimes it just blows my mind to think that it could that it's still illegal anywhere. You know what I mean? Like that's just so crazy.
That you're on a camera.
Yeah.
So you're not just like in the country, just like oh, I'm gay or whatever, but you're like broadcasting too, so it's like absolutely.
Wow, man.
Oh, I didn't mean to end on the bummer one, but that's
no. But are you like reviewing the live ones as well, or are there no?
I haven't yet, but I'll presumably that's what I'll be doing at some point. But yeah, absolutely.
And is that all the writing stuff that you're doing at the moment, or is that?
Yeah, do you want to talk about working on new material for myself in general?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do another album next year.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
It's
nice.
gonna be called America's Gay Christian Sweetheart, because you know what I mean.
Certainly.
So I'm gonna do my next album is gonna be all about religion and growing up religious and how that didn't work out for me.
Do you have any belief in God still? Because I
Oh,
noticed that you meant.
absolutely. I believe in everything. Like if you're Muslim, I'm like, go for it. You know, it's like you're Jewish. I love it. You're a witch. Cast me a spell. You know, you're into crystals. Give me some crystals. You know what I mean? Like I believe all of it. My next 6 months is sort of that. Is I've been going through you get a lot of time during the pandemic to kind of, I guess, ruminate or think about things, you know, like there's just too much self-reflection time.
The word you're looking for is existential dread.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. I have screamed into the void so many times. But it's given me time to kind of go, and I made a little notebook with every year that I've been alive page. And as memories come, I kind of go and make a little note of, you know, I don't write out the full thing, but I write out like a keyword. And then I've been going through that and going, okay, well, I may not do year 1, year 2, year 3, but I can start grouping these stories together. And not all of them are religious, but basically there's always some religious stuff that's gone all the way through. And then it's basically filling it out with something that's either thematically religious or thematically queer and religious, or just personal side stories that fit in, you know, oh, well, this thing happened with me on a religious level, but at the same year is the year that, you know, whatever happened in my life. So yeah, I'm literally just sort of starting with that. Like I'm in the very, like the barest of bone stages, I think, at this point. But yeah, that's something I'll be project though. Yeah, if it works itself out, I think it'll be good. And the name America's Gay Christian Sweetheart is just such a, like, that's what I like to say. Like when anyone gets real ugly with me about anything, I go, I'm America's Gay Christian Sweetheart. So you need to calm down. You understand? Like you can't be talking to me like that. How dare you, you know? So
I love it. I think it's an amazing name. I think the name alone is like, that will sell that show so well.
I hope so. I think it will, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Payne was my husband, his name is Payne. When sometimes I'll run something by him and like his initial reaction is all I need. So sometimes I'll run a joke by him and he won't react at all. And I know that is nothing. Right. And sometimes he'll go, "Oh, that's disgusting," and I'm like, "Oh, this is a keeper, right?" Or whatever, because he'll look at me like, "That's gross," and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm keeping that."
Now that you explain your writing process, it makes you stand up. Makes me
absolutely
stand up a lot better. Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll say something. He'll go, "You're going to get us killed," and that's when I'm like, I know I'm really onto something. Not in terms of like that I'm going to just do the joke the way I just said it, but when he goes, "You're going to get us killed," it means I'm saying a truth that makes him afraid. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes those truths that make him afraid are like those are the jokes that you write. That's the area you want to go into. So anytime I make any kind of religious reference, he's like, he'll be like, "You're gonna get us killed." I'm like, all right, let me write that one. Let's put that over in this column for a little while. But
is there anything that you're kind of obsessed with these days that's getting you through the days? Anything you're like particularly interested in or obsessed with? I've
watched stuff that I would normally never watch during the pandemic. So I just watched all of Hannibal, the show Hannibal. Wow. And it's only 3 seasons, so it's not that bad.
Right.
But it was so good. It's like visually, it's a very visual show. So it's very, very interesting. And something normally I wouldn't watch because I'd already seen like Silence of the Lambs. So I thought I already knew the source material, whatever. But, and I'm embarrassed to say, is that I'm now like 5 seasons into the Vampire Diaries. And I never watched the Vampire. I know it's so bad too. And I am obsessed. I'm just like, is it going to be Stefan or Damon? I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, so I'm literally like watching 3 episodes a day.
Oh my God, that is a bit much.
It's bad. It's really bad. My husband just got to the hospital. And I made him watch a couple episodes. He's like, "Look, I can either be over here without a gallbladder or watch another episode of fucking Vampire Diaries. You need to choose." And I had to turn it off. So now I have to wait for him to go to bed. But yeah,
cool. That's amazing. Yeah, trash television getting us through. I've certainly watched we started watching Hannibal, I'll say.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is too intense for lockdown. I can't deal with
this
right now.
I need a little bit of that. Like it really takes the edge off, you know?
No.
Yeah, we were watching The Handmaid's Tale, and after season 2, I was like, you know what? I just need a break from this. Like I'm feeling very depressed.
Yeah, I didn't like The Handmaid's Tale because like on episode 2, you find out what happens to all the gay people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, jeez.
Or episode 1.
Is it good?
No, it's not good.
Did they
all
go to
get
Happy
ponies?
Place?
Yeah. They don't have them working as waiters in the, you know what I mean? Like that's what I thought would be really funny is that they had them, that they're all like hairdressers and stuff, but that they found their place inside of the Gillian. But yeah, I understand. The thing I liked about Hannibal was the visuals of it, all the him preparing the food, like because it really like by the end of the series, you're kind of like, I don't know, like every time he goes to prepare his little sweetmeats or whatever, I'm like completely grossed out. So it's like the minute you see him in the kitchen, you start to get creeped out. Like by the end of the series, you don't have to see him do anything. You're just like, anytime he's in the kitchen with a knife, you're like, it's happening.
All right. So Ian, in the next 6 months, do you have any goals or plans for the next 6 months? You're working on your show.
I am.
Have that.
I kind of looked at it like, which is sort of like what I do when I'm trying to plan anything, is that my priorities are in terms of like writing and stand up and whatever. Mm-hmm. So my stand up priorities are to get back to get on the road, to do some touring. And my hope that is that within the next 6 months that we'll be at a place where that can happen. So I'm going to try to tour Florida because that's where my parents live, and it's close, and they're really not masking it up right now. So I'm assuming that within 6 months they'll be like, COVID, what COVID? That'll be. In terms of writing, what my hope is that I complete this other pilot. So I'll have 2 sitcom pilots, and then next year, every year they do these like fellowship contests, like Universal, NBC, CBS, a bunch of different Nickelodeon, where you have to submit 2 original pilots as to be like considered for it. So my hope is to have both those pilots done. And the first one I have done, and I've done like 2 or 3 rewrites to it. And then the second one, I'm going to do the same thing where I show it to 10 or 15 people, get some notes, make some edits based off of the notes. But yeah, so my hope is that by this time, within 6 months, I'll have identified the fellowships that I'm trying to apply for, and that some of those windows will have been opened already, and I'll be applying to those with hopes of getting hired to work as a writer.
So, Ian, do you have any kind of big swing predictions for the future for the next 6 months? Do you think anything big?
God, I would really love to say that, the big swing is going to be ushering out of our current president and a Republican-controlled Congress would be nice. So that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to go ahead on a limb and say that that's going to do a lot for our country and probably the world in terms of at least to remove that from our situation. You know what I mean? Like just a clean slate. Let's start over with, regular corrupt people, not extra corrupt, not this extra crispy corrupt ass motherfucker. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Let's go back to at least a little bit of the normalcy of a president like Joe Biden. But I think that in the next 6 months, it's either going to be that we're going back to something or we're moving in a direction we've never been in before. And that we're still going to be waiting to find out who's president, and he's going to 45 is going to fight it all the way. But I choose to believe the other one. I choose to believe that he's going to lose the election by a lot, and it's going to be very obvious to everyone involved that he lost. And I hope that people start shitting in their hands and throwing their shit at him. That's my big. That everywhere he goes, they're just going to walk into the Trump Tower and reach into the back of their pants and smear feces on the wall and then just walk out. And that'll be like a daily occurrence.
Wow.
That would be great. Just like the security guards at Trump Tower, they're just, excuse me, what are you doing here? And I'm just like, I'm just here to just rub some, I'm just going to rub some shit. Okay. I'm just leaving now. Like, it's okay, sir. We get that every day. Don't worry about it.
Join the queue.
Yeah. It's like, hey, the shit rubbing line is over there. All right. This is the urinating line. All right. This is the line where we piss on things.
Wow.
Anyways, awesome. Ian, we have one last thing. We're not going to say goodbye to you because through the miracle of editing, we are going to continue this conversation immediately, but 6 months later. But one thing we ask our guests to do is if you could set up a joke that you do not have a punchline for, and then we will edit the 2 things together in 6 months. So you just need the setup now, and then you have 6 months to think of the most amazing punchline for this setup.
Jeez, that's not no pressure at all, huh?
Well,
I'm trying to think. Setups.
I'm giving you 6 months to think about it. I'm gonna give me 10 seconds to think about that.
Okay. You heard about the new self-cleaning oven? It's a new sex act. It's when you're limber enough to eat your own ass right after you come. So.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Wow.
Ian.
I feel like I really can't unhear that, you know?
Yeah, no. And like really it
6 months. That's how long it took to write that. 6. No, I'm just
6 no.
Wow. Is this like the joke that you're gonna open with in like America's Gay Christian Sweetheart?
maybe.
It just really it really sets the level at the beginning of the show, I think, of your own show. I think to like start out with that joke, just so everybody knows
That's
where
my
they're
opener.
at.
Yeah.
Definitely. Opener, so to speak.
I can say the great thing about that joke is it really just paints a visual picture. That
Really
is,
visual. Highly
just-
visual.
I'm a
scarred
visual-
it's like carved into the inside of my skull now,
Yeah.
and I'll never
I'm
get it
a
out.
visual storyteller.
The self-cleaning oven. Great.
Love it.
Ian, how have you been, man? How's the last 6 months been treating you?
You picked the worst time to do this podcast. I feel like it's like
Why?
because it doesn't like what is 6 months? You know what I mean? Like
So true.
Right.
what is that even? You know?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in a almost like fugue like state from all the edibles I've been eating. You know what I mean? So it's like. What is 6 months? You know, like it's been good. I think it's been good. When did we talk exactly though? So you say 6 months. What is that? What time frame? Like October?
Yes, I think it was
me go
the end
back.
of September.
Yeah, like mid-September, and yeah,
Okay.
you're right, end of September.
It's in
So
my spreadsheet.
things back then in September, I was sort of like, I think just getting my head around the idea that this wasn't going to be over in 2020. You know what I mean? So like September, I think I had sort of been at that point where I accepted that we were going to be in this through at least, you know, all through Christmas and probably into the new year. And I wasn't wrong. I was not wrong. It's like it sort of got the worst of it was really towards the end of the year in terms of
Right.
like lack of stage time because we weren't able to do outdoor shows and everybody's sick of the Zoom shows. So it was like it was a pretty rough, like I would say November, December, except for the holidays. It was very bleak in terms of like feeling effective as a creative and even being able to call myself a stand-up comedian when there was really so little stand-up happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, things have been better though. I really feel like that, like January, February, and through March, that we have a better idea here in Georgia, at least, of when are people getting vaccinated, what does herd immunity look like, comedy starting back indoors and outdoors to a diminished capacity, of course. But so look, things are looking up in that regard for sure.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like when I was listening back to you talking about the Zoom gigs, I was like, wow, like that feels so long ago. And I just can't even, the thought of doing a Zoom gig, like it just, anything like that, it just makes me feel really anxious because I've literally feel like I've forgotten what it is to, well, like you said, like to be a stand-up comedian. Like it just feels like I wouldn't even, I just don't, I don't know. It's
Well,
just,
people are still doing the Zoom shows, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's not going away. That's going to stick around. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like the minute that's not, you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
like I watched a Zoom. I in the conversations 6 months ago, I said that I had just done a set where I recorded it, and then it aired essentially. And I went back and was like, "When are y'all taking that off of YouTube?" Do you know what I mean? Like, because I went and watched it the other day, and I was like, what I was really proud of at the time, I'm like just to the depths of my core embarrassed of now.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
gosh.
Because I was just vamping it up. It was like me to know. It was like a self-taped audition on acid. Is what it like. 'Cause there's like every bad choice I could make, I was there making it, waving my hands in front of the camera. I'm sassy, or whatever it was, and it's just like God.
Oh man. So the Zoom persona that you had built up, you're just like, I'm done with that guy.
Yeah, in a way. Well, that guy sort of has crept into my main act. So, like,
Really?
I'm after doing so many shit. Do you hear my dog?
Yeah.
He's ready. She's ready for go for a walk.
aw.
After doing so many of those kind of shows, I think that it's sort of like without laughter as the measure or the goal, you know,
Right.
you get a little more bold, I think, in terms of like your act outs and what kind of material you're willing to do. So there was a lot of stuff that I would never do on stage because it never paid off right away. That was like the core of my Zoom sets, like stories that I would normally never do because there's 2 minutes of silence before I get to the punchline part of the joke. And, I would never waste too many. But now, if I'm doing a long set, I'll do those jokes the same way that I did them on Zoom because I know that there's a payoff there in the finish. And I'm okay with no laughter. I'm okay with sitting, like, when you're in a room full of people and they're not laughing, it's like, as a comedian, your brain's telling you, oh, you need to cut this, get to the funny part, get to the funny part.
Right.
But now that I've done the Zoom shows, I feel like, oh, no, I'm going to give myself permission to have some lulls in my set and to bring people down, to bring them back up, like create tension for payoff.
Wow. So that's potentially going to be quite beneficial, actually, to your comedy.
I feel like it is. Like, I came, like, the indoor stuff that I've done, I feel like that I'm a better comic as a result of the last year, which feels weird to say, but it feels like it's true. I at least trust myself to be funny now in a way that I didn't before.
That's exciting. I feel like I was thinking about doing an open mic again, and I feel like I'm going to give myself permission when I do one again to just get up there and talk, like not actually worry so much about having everything planned, like just maybe have some notes of things I want to talk about, but just be really much more free with it. Because I think I was exactly the same, like very much like I've got to get to a punchline, I think I don't know. Something about this last year has just made me feel like I don't care so much anymore.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the second shot and then the 2 weeks after, like when I'm whatever level of immunity you get from that, because I'm gonna start doing open mics again. I haven't done that yet. You know what I mean? Like I'm only doing book stuff, but the minute I can, because I'm like basically looking at it like you have to start over as a comedian. Like in some regard.
Yeah, because this month I passed my 1 year anniversary since I've been on stage.
Oh wow!
And since the beginning of the year, I've been like, I don't think any of my jokes, I can't really even remember how they go. And I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to rebuild after this. I guess just crank out. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, I think we're still a couple months away from having indoor shows, certainly. Even having outdoor shows is kind of...
Yeah, most of the indoor shows are all like half capacity, a third capacity kind of things. But like they're basically making it available to everyone in Georgia over the age of 16, the vaccine. So my hope is that, I know a lot of people not getting it, unfortunately.
Oh, God.
So, like every other person are like, I don't know if I'm like, oh, just then get COVID and die already. Can you just do that for me? I'm being facetious, of course, but
maybe overcorrected on that one.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's just like, look, if you're not, then stay home. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or whatever it is that you need to do. Fade to obscurity. But everybody else, I'm hoping, is going to get it, and we'll be back to some semblance of normal.
Yeah. It's really hard, like, when because I do know a couple of people who have said some stuff like that, the real anti-vaxxy things, and you're just like, really? Like, you're an educated person. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to, I don't really know how to deal with it.
Well, we're from the state that brought you Marjorie Taylor Greene, the woman who thinks that the Jews own a giant space laser that does whatever. Yeah. So, the level of idiocy, just even my immediate family, there are members of my husband's side of the family that are not educated and love to prove it every time they open their mouth. And none of them are getting vaxxed. Whoa, the microchips. And I'm like, whatever. Yeah. If you hate microchips so much, why are you eating potato chips right now?
Microchips.
Yeah, that's a comeback.
I feel like microchips have really come a long way if they can fit through a needle. Like, as in, they're making some pretty advanced microchips these days.
Yeah, and if they can put it in a needle, then why can't they put it in your Mountain Dew? Like that's
right.
So
yes, that's a great point.
Yeah, I like to think so. But my chips burn apparently wasn't good enough for Matt, who hasn't even been on stage in a year and can't remember any of his jokes.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You know what? I'm feeling bad enough about it and spiraling with my identity now. Thank you for just putting the knife in and twisting there, Ian. That's
Absolutely.
Really great. Thank you.
Show me where the paper cut is. I have this lemon juice. I'm just waiting to put it on.
I still think about something you once said, because I did your surrogate show.
Yeah.
And when I got on camera, I'd taken my shirt off so it looked like I was naked. And then when I got off stage, you said something to me that still haunts my thoughts, which is like, when you have a body like that, why wouldn't you use it for comedy? And I just, I think about that all the time. And I'm like, Ian's right, I'm fat.
Look, I use my own body for comedy all the time, constantly.
Yeah. I was going to say, so with your predictions, you mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene, and your predictions were that we would get rid of Trump. So that was good. You were right about that. And that we flip the Senate, which, thanks to Georgia.
Exactly. That was a That was a big prediction on my part. I did not believe it. I didn't believe it when I said it. That was my dreamer's heart when I said that back 6 months ago. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But,
and Georgia's blue. Like, we are blue for now. I mean, it won't last long.
Well, yeah. Once all those laws pass and like only 10 white guys over 85 can vote, we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what's happening too right now. They're trying to make it very difficult. But it was a great thing, and it really is like a credit to people like Stacey Abrams who was canvassing in our state so hard for so long. It's like the best thing they could have ever done is stolen that election from her for governor. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it really motivated. She was like, oh, well, let me show you what it looks like. Good luck trying to steal this. You know what I mean? So,
she's like, I got nothing but free time.
Clear my books. I'm staying in Georgia. But so that regard, I was like very pleased when I listened to what you guys sent me, the edit.
Yeah.
I had forgotten I even said that because I'm usually more of a Trump is going to be the ruler of the planet forever kind of.
Yeah. In 6 months, I guess I'll be in a camp or something.
Yeah. Right.
But that was so good call on that. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, it's now the Democrats are in charge, so that's its own problem, and it's.
Well,
I know we didn't people immediately were like, everything's gonna be better, and I was like, no, it's not. No, not for everybody.
Some things will be marginally better.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love that you were just like, I just want like normal level of corrupt people back in power.
Yeah.
Are you going to be signing up to Trump's new social media site?
I mean, I got to get material from something, so maybe. I don't think so. I think I'm okay. I asked for somebody to send me an invite to Clubhouse, and I have yet to sign up for it, so I think I might be at my threshold of, I don't know if I want any more social media. Like, I think less probably would be my next direction.
What's Clubhouse?
Wait, what is Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is like it's like Facebook groups though with audio. So you're in topic groups, and then you can join, and then you can talk. Like, let's say you could join like Sleepy Joe Biden. You could go into the Sleepy Joe Biden group and be like, oh, Joe Biden's the worst, or whatever. You know what I mean? And somebody said, I asked for somebody to send me an invite because I wanted to see what it was about. And then I was like, oh, do I want to be in anything? Do I want to be involved in any other? Like, Facebook's enough. I think it's too much sometimes.
Yeah. I'm off Facebook. I still have my account, but I literally hardly use it anymore. I actually went through a lockdown kind of, I don't know, probably breakdown, and was just like, I'm going off all social media.
Those are totally different things. Is it a lockdown or a breakdown?
It was a lockdown breakdown.
It turns out it was both. Yeah. You got some lockdown in my breakdown. You got some breakdown in my lockdown. Two horrible tastes that taste.
Wait, are you still on Instagram though?
I am still on Instagram. I'm actually still on Facebook, but I just don't ever. I used to, scroll through it all the time or whatever. I haven't scrolled through it I guess since the beginning of lockdown, because that was when I started my whole, like, I'm going off social media thing, because I just couldn't take it any longer. And, and it's been good. Okay, I've got a few questions. The live porn, how's that going?
Watching live porn. Let's start with
how's your live porn career going? Have you started doing live porn yet?
My OnlyFans, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, that job, like, it was funny because like I wrote one article and then a second one, and then I sort of just never heard back from them. I guess the money dried up, so it was like I thought it was going to be like a nice little. I write one or two of those a month, and it would help my income. So that didn't happen.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm still a fan of live porn. I don't like recorded porn at all because like the statistics in the gay community are such that like if you're watching a recorded gay porn, that person who's in it is more likely to have died of a drug overdose or suicide or a violent crime than a straight person. So it's like I can never forget that. You know what I mean? So it's like it takes me out of the porn altogether. So I watch live porn mostly.
Oh my god! Yeah, wow.
That's
heavy. That's a heavy way of. That's a heavy way of watching porn. Like
I'm a message comedian, so that was my message.
Yeah.
Matt's not feeling it.
Yeah, well, I will.
Matt, tell me about your hair. Can we talk about your hair?
It's fucking getting out of control. You know what? Oh, tell me about your beard, Ian.
My beard looks good, so tell me about your hair.
Your beard is luscious, but my hair is a fucking mess because it's. I haven't had a haircut in months, and it's a little bit thinner on top than it is on the sides. So when it grows out on the sides, it like mushrooms out.
Okay.
And I've been meaning to get a
Comb it?
haircut all week.
Okay.
By get a haircut, I mean I've been meaning to get my wife to cut my hair.
But you do have a 7-week-old baby, Matt, so it's quite hard to like find time, right? He's 7 weeks now?
He's 7 weeks, yeah.
Did you know he had a baby in? Isn't that crazy?
No.
Yeah.
What's your baby's name?
Tavish.
Tavish, okay.
Yeah.
Tavish.
So Tavish, my wife she's Scottish, so we want to give him a nice little Scottish name.
Okay,
so.
nice.
Tavish sound like a good name. It's not very popular. So
I think it's a great name. I love
I
it.
don't have to worry about him having to go to school and be Tavish C.
Did you watch RuPaul's Drag Race UK season 2?
No.
Oh, because Lawrence Chaney from Scotland won. Lawrence Chaney. So it's a Scottish queen is who won. So that bodes well for your son, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
That's a good omen.
Yeah, it's
I guess so.
a beautiful omen.
And Tavish Lawrence Chaney. I'm confusing the two though.
That's all right. Yeah.
Lawrence Chaney was a fat queen, so he's the first fat queen that's ever won RuPaul's Drag Race. Because it's always been these skinny bitches. I'm sick and tired of these skinny. No offense, Tara. But yeah,
I love that you think that I'm skinny. I feel massively complimented.
No offense, Matt. No.
wait. Okay, sure. I mean,
Oh, fuck you.
you brought up what I said to you at the pilot light from
It's fine.
Knoxville.
What I
I
love
haven't
is
been to Knoxville in so long. I miss it.
I haven't been to Knoxville in 4 years, and I am good.
I love how many times you've managed to insult Matt, particularly with that first one about him being like the face of the human centipede or something like that. That was hilarious. That was such a good I mean, that is a real insult, isn't it? I don't know. But then, as we
I've
said,
never said that to anybody else either, which is such a sometimes if I insult you, I have like a little cadre of ready insults for people. But no, Matt, that just came from the purest part of my heart, which is also the blackest
Thanks.
part of my heart.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But I meant that as a compliment
I'm sure.
because you don't want to be any other face on the Human Centipede, do you?
exactly.
Yeah,
You don't want to be third. You don't want to be the third lead on Human Centipede. Do you understand? Like you got to be the star.
If anything, he was being very kind, I would say.
Yeah. All right, but you've been doing the script writing?
I
that's
have.
been
I
going
wrote
well?
a second screenplay, or not screenplay, but sitcom pilot.
Right.
That I've done a little rewrites on. This one's about a group of terminally ill cancer patients who are in they're like a support group with each other, and they decide that instead of fulfilling their bucket list, they all have somebody they want to get revenge on. So they decide to help each other get revenge before their final revenge before they pass away.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
it's just
sounds really
very
funny.
lighthearted. It's a very lighthearted romp.
Yeah.
And
I think that's such an amazing idea. That sounds really funny. I really
Well,
love
thank
that
you.
as a concept. I
Thank
hope it gets picked up.
well, I don't know what I'm like right now. What I'm doing with them is like what I would like to be able to do is get either like a fellowship or like put them in like writing contests because sometimes you end up getting jobs out of that.
Right.
But I'm not as much attached to selling these as I am to the hopes that one of them will get me a job writing on somebody's show.
Right.
But I was really like the idea of that. I have a friend of mine who did pass from cancer years ago. Who
I'm sorry.
It's been a long time, so thank you. But their last thing they wanted to do was basically getting revenge on somebody. So I sort of helped facilitate. It was like a prank more than really revenge. But
I just had to dig the grave. I
yeah,
didn't ask any
exactly.
questions. He was too weak to lift the
yeah,
shovel at that point,
exactly,
so I was just like, "I'll do this for you."
Yeah. but yeah, so it's and really the show's more about like closure doesn't look the same for everybody kind of deal. So it's like instead of it being a like, oh, I've always wanted to do this, it's like, well, I want to confront my sister about how she stole my husband, and so
Right.
the way that works out in a stand-up in a sitcom format is that the episodes mostly end on like high notes. So a lot of that revenge ends up being really rather than it truly being revenge, it ends up being closure or these people having a breakthrough or that kind of thing. But yeah, it was fun to write. It was really fun to write.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
good. Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
So I hope something comes of that.
Yeah, between the two of them, I'm hoping that I can like either get a job or get one of these fellowships, because that would be another career change for me. You know, it's like I want to continue doing stand up, but if I had the opportunity to write for sitcoms, that's my dream. You know what I mean? Because like I spent way more time watching sitcoms in my life than I ever did stand up, and so like the idea that I could write one or even create one would be like bananas.
Yeah. Oh wow, man. Well, I hope that does come to fruition. Was there anything else? Like, was there anything listening back to the first half that sort of surprised you when you listened to it?
I don't know if I was surprised. I think that like it's hard to say that I was depressed when I was talking to you guys specifically, but like my dog had just died and Payne had just gotten out of the hospital, and so like it was like I was being optimistic, but like the way that I like on the inside, it's all existential dread, but on the outside, it's like, you know, the sun will come out tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like that way that we do that. I mean, I think that's what really surprised me was that listening to myself, I was like, oh, I can tell how much of that is like false bravado or whatever. And how, because like, I didn't want to get on your podcast and be like, yeah, the world sucks, life sucks, I have no aspirations for anything. This career was a mistake, or you know what I mean? But in a way, I think that's where I was in my heart. And I may still be there a little bit. I don't know. I'm much more like optimistic and just getting back to some semblance of normalcy now in terms of like how to move my comedian ball forward or my writing ball forward. I'm still like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I think I know what I'm working. I think I'm working towards the right stuff, but it's like, you know, I think that's what taught me is that in 6 months, you think you'd have more clarity on certain things. But the reality is that you're so busy in your day to day that you don't realize that, 6 weeks have gone by since you said this, or 6 months have gone, you know what I mean? Like that you're so busy in the intricacies of your daily life that those bigger goals sometimes escape you. So it's like, it's almost like the can that I had out in front of me that I was kicking 6 months ago is the same can I have out in front of me today, in a way. You know what I mean? Even though I have done some stuff and made what I think good decisions about other things. It's like I'm still in the middle of it. You know, like there are going to be people you talk to that like have probably conceived and completed whole projects in the 6 months. I am not one of those.
It's not a competition.
No, I know, but that's where. But that's what I realized, and I'm okay with that. Like I wasn't. I was a little apprehensive having this conversation because I was because like not because of y'all, but because of how I would feel about like how do I measure my success? Am I on the right path? Am I making good choices? All that kind of stuff. And what I realize is that I am, but I'm also like not as far along as I'd like to be. But that's never stopped me before from anything. You know, if anything, it just kind of makes me more resolved to come up with a better plan as things open up here to utilize that to the best of my ability. So it's like if more stage time is going to help me get towards that hour, then that's my immediate goal. It's not the hour; it's the get up 6-7 times a week if I can. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's and that's good. I think that's healthy thinking. It's not like being like, oh, I'm it's been a year, I should have a new hour of material.
And I could totally be that way about it because I really thought but I feel like that I was prolific to the degree that I did write 2 sitcom pilots in a year. I did come up with a new 20 or 30 minutes of material. I performed 105 times last year.
Wow. That's more than a lot of people.
Zoom and in person. Yeah, it is. But compared to the year before that, 105 isn't a lot at all. You know what I mean? Like, because I was getting up like 6 nights a week, basically every week.
Wow.
So my successes and failures are relative to what is going on in the world right now. I can't look back at last year and go, oh, well, I probably did spend way more days sitting on the couch watching Vampire Diaries than I would in any other year. But at least I got it out of my system. You know what I mean? So
I was going to ask, did you finish Vampire Diaries?
Oh, I did. And then I watched, what's the other show? The Originals. So I watched 8 seasons of Vampire Diaries, 5 seasons of The Originals, and 2 seasons of Legacies. It's all from the same universe. And let me tell you, it's fucking garbage. All of it. Like they didn't know what they were doing with it. Like, well, I'm still watching Legacies. It's still on. But like by the time they were done, like you didn't care about a single fucking character on any of those shows. There's a great there's a woman out there who does a 1 hour explanation of the Vampire Diaries, like in the most like scathing, sarcastic, and like when she released it had like 1 million views within like 5 days because she just tears it to. I watched it like 3 times because I was like, this is brilliant. I kind of wish she had done that. If she had done that before I watched the Vampire Diaries, I would have just watched that video.
That sounds much more satisfying than watching the Vampire Diaries.
It's so, but you know what's funny too is like every once in a while I'll say as my rock bottom of 2020 was that I watched all of Vampire Diaries, and it never fails to get like there's a cadre of people in the room who are either like super fans of the Vampire Diaries and love for it to be shit on, or that they too got sucked in and watched some bullshit show and watched every episode of, you know what I mean? So it's like, it is, in that way, I guess I feel like that it's, and there's actually a comic in Atlanta named Amber Chandler who she gives tours, like Vampire Diaries tours every day. That's her job. Because like, it was filmed around here. It was filmed around Atlanta. And her job every day is just to talk about the so it could be worse. I could be her. You know what I mean? I could be having
She's like living it.
Yeah.
She's living in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a relatable, like that's, it's like what's going to be relatable after the pandemic. It's like, oh, I spent an insane amount of time watching a show that was terrible.
Oh yeah.
I knew it was terrible. I never got better.
Yeah.
I never expected it to get better. Like, I think we've all got, I watched Star Trek Enterprise. Oof. Not a good show.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
That's a bad one. Yeah. I watched like 4 seasons of that. It was like 6 good episodes. I don't know. So, yeah.
Do you watch it? Are you watching Discovery?
I am watching Discovery. Yeah.
That's really good, I think.
I like Discovery a lot. Yeah. I think,
cool.
Discovery's up there. It's doing.
What's your favorite franchise? What's your favorite Star Trek franchise?
Well, I'm glad you've asked, Ian. It happens to be Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I knew it. You can't have that haircut without loving Deep Space Nine. Can't do it.
What the fuck, man?
Can't do it.
I just have it's been a pandemic, man. It's hard to get a haircut.
So in my pilot for the Gone Tomorrow, the one about the cancer patients, there's there's a gay wedding that happens. And it's like a Star Trek, it's a Federation themed wedding, Starfleet Federation themed wedding. But the 2 grooms are Klingons, and then there's an ex who shows up dressed as a Ferengi, and they have like a Klingon death battle in the middle of the wedding. Well, like a fake one, obviously, because it's all fake weapons or whatever.
Wait, is he a Ferengi or a Ferengi?
He's a Ferengi. That's how you pronounce it.
Oh, I get it. That's good.
That's the gay pronunciation.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I love Star Trek, and I love I love all of them. But Deep Space Nine is like you're a real nerd if you like Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I feel that I have to say, just because Matt's been burned a lot in this episode for some reason.
Matt.
I feel that I have to say we are still in. Oh God, what are you doing, Matt?
I spilled my glass.
How did it make your camera go out though? Is what I want to know. Whatever you did, her camera blinked for a second.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Matt's really having a tough day. But Matt's hair. I just want to say about Matt's hair. We are still in lockdown. Like as in we literally can't go to the hairdresser. We can't go anywhere and do anything. So he does have a legitimate excuse for not having his hair cut. I just want to say
you
that.
look like you should be on Barney Miller. You remember all the haircuts from Barney Miller?
Yeah, I know Barney Miller.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Anyways.
Well, it's been so good talking to you, Ian, and really, really loved it. Hey, Matt, do you have any more questions for Ian?
I don't know. I just got,
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry. Congratulations on your baby.
Why are you so cruel, Ian? Who hurt you?
Straight people did. That's who. As a matter of fact.
Fine. Well, you know what? Hey, don't take all your anger of straight people out on me.
Well, I mean, I got to do it one by one. It's a one-on-one.
Are you still running your show, Straight People?
I am. My podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out there. No, I'm doing it. It's fun. It's just like a labor of love. It's like I get a few hundred listeners per show, and I haven't really been able to like drive the, you know what I mean? Like the numbers. So it's like, there is listeners, but it's like, I don't know how to make it. I don't know how to, you know what I mean? I don't know what's the next, what do you do next with the podcast once you've done like 50 episodes? And it feels like it feels like I have a base, but that's about it. But yeah, I do still do it, and it is a lot of fun. And we talk about straight culture, if there is such a thing, so.
I don't know. Friends,
yeah, exactly.
So
which friend are you? Chandler, I guess. I'm gonna guess Chandler.
I love Chandler. Chandler's great.
Chandler He's the
Don't
de
you
facto
like
gay.
Although I feel like Chandler becomes worse as it goes on, though, for some reason.
See,
I liked him a lot.
I like the worst, like Monica towards the like when she starts to become neurotic and whatever. You know what I mean?
I find her unbearable. Monica really annoys me. I love Ross the most, but someone got really angry with me for saying that recently because apparently he's bad for some reason. But I think it was because, this is a friend, you know her as well. This is a while ago. She said it was because I think I said that he had every right to, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. She said that he was controlling the fact that he didn't want Rachel to sleep with a worker or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I just find him very funny. I don't know why people
were they or were they not on a break?
I think they were on a break personally, but then that was another thing she got very angry that I said.
Yeah.
So now I have to try not to. In fact, I'm tempted to cut this out of the podcast in case I get loads of hate for saying that. But I don't know.
No, we're trying to drive listens.
This is a pro Ross podcast. Is that what you're saying?
No, I
Welcome
like
to Ross Talk,
Ross
where we
Talk.
talk about the best friend.
Wait, so
Ross
who's your
Geller.
favorite friend, Matt?
I don't know. Phoebe?
Oh, Phoebe's great. Phoebe is fantastic. I do really like Phoebe.
Phoebe, I think, gets off best of all of them because she doesn't feel. I think maybe it's because she doesn't live in that same apartment building.
Probably. Yeah.
And she doesn't really live in that same world. I think
No,
she's...
exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like she feels like she drifts in and out of the. But
Did you know she played? So the same actress played a character named Ursula on Mad About You, and so that Ursula ends up being on Friends. So Mad About You and Friends are in the same shared universe. Isn't that weird? Why would they do that? Who needs that? I don't know. But
we should really take it up with someone.
Well, I found out Mathew Burchard was on one of my episodes of Straight People, and if you look his name up on Google, it goes people also search for, and like one of the first names is Sharon Stone, and I thought that was weird, so I brought it up to him, and he goes, "Well, you know, I've been in 2 Sharon Stone movies," and I was like, "So you're part of the Sharon Stone shared cinematic universe?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Oh, nice. I guess the only other question I had is, what's the biggest change you've experienced over the last 6 months?
The biggest change in the last 6 months, I would probably say because Payne had his gallbladder stitch, that we have been trying to eat better. So we've been eating mostly meatless, like vegetarian, vegan.
Wow.
Nice.
But still, like, you know, then we call them meat cheats. So, you know, we're still eating meat on occasion. But for the most part, I've been cooking nothing but vegan and vegetarian.
Wow.
So that's really good. The weirdest thing about that is that I remember my dreams now. I used to never remember my dreams. And the minute I saw, isn't that weird? That's a weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. Huh. And but all of my dreams are about like I'm on a show and I can't find the person to check in with, or I'm backstage and I can't find the fucking curtain to go on stage, or I have a show that I'm running that nobody shows up to. So they're all nightmares, really. But
just stress dreams. I was gonna say I remember my dreams all the time, but they're always stress dreams.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, maybe it's.
I did have a dream the other night. We've been
watching.
We were watching Below Deck Sailing Yacht, and I did have a dream about being on a yacht with my mom and dad, and my dad was trying to kill my mom and I, like by crashing the boat or whatever. So that was nice. That was a nice.
Wow. Sounds action packed.
Sounds like a great reason to eat meat still. So I will be keeping on eating that meat. Yum, yum, yum.
I think maybe it's the little bit of meat that you're cheating with.
You think that's it?
That's causing the bad dreams.
It's causing the bad dreams? Maybe. Well, that could be the case because it's about once every 2 weeks we end up like.
That doesn't make any sense, Matt, because you just said you have loads of stress dreams and you're a vegetarian. So
look, I'm very stressed out. I feel like I'm always being attacked.
The only thing I can think of. The only thing I can think of is that it takes your body a lot to digest meat. So like if you're not if you're not digesting meat, then your brain has more energy to dream or something. But I'm not a psychologist or whatever, so I don't know.
Your brain has more time to just really dig deep into the subconscious to get all the real gunk out.
I keep thinking I just need to eat less food, because when you eat like way, way less, your body needs less sleep. It has more energy. It actually ages less, according to this book that Matt and I read recently because we interviewed the author. It's called Ageless. And yeah, so I'm just like, I need to eat less and I'll live longer and be healthier. But then every day I just love stuffing food in my mouth. And then I'm like, tomorrow I will eat less. But it's really hard. It's not hard because all I have to do is not eat. So it's not doing something, it's like a passive thing. So it shouldn't be hard.
We had a big
Anyway.
argument the other day about like when you get to heaven, do you have a kitchen in heaven and like cook your own shit? Or just like are there like restaurants in heaven, or is it like everybody eats together in heaven? And like, so if you like to snack a lot, what do you do? So I don't know. And do you poop in heaven?
It's heaven. You can just
Do
do
you
whatever you
poop?
want.
Do you
right?
just eat? You know what I mean? Like, how do you ever feel full?
Yeah.
It's a lot of theological questions I have.
They're
Maybe you
really
don't need to-
important questions.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
What were you going to say,
Kinda,
Matt?
What's the buffet sitch? in
Yeah,
heaven?
exactly. And what if like buffets aren't your thing? Like
I
Payne's always
really-
like heaven's like a big cocktail party where we're all together and like constantly around each other. And like to me, heaven would be like knowing that party's happening, but staying home and sleeping in anyways. Do you know what I mean? Like that's heaven. It's like I'll see you later.
Like I need to know the party's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I could be there, but no.
meanwhile, I'm at home watching Vampire Diaries. So, Ian, what's next for you?
After this, I'm gonna take my pants off. I'm wearing pants for
Okay,
this for
well.
whatever reason. What's next?
I appreciate you putting pants on to talk to
I
us,
know,
by the
right?
way.
Well, I
That
didn't
is-
know how
that's-
I didn't know if I would have to stand up. Do you know what I mean? At any point.
Okay.
Because like in Zoom, you can just turn the camera off. I didn't know about this thing, so.
That's
But I guess what's next for me is the Laughing Skull's back open, and I'm still booking there. So I've been sort of like getting that going again.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna start doing. So I get my second shot April 5th, and then so 2 weeks after that, I'm gonna start doing open mics again, and at least do some touring in the Southeast. I'm still in talks with some folks in Florida. I think that's something I mentioned the last time where I was being. So like I'm getting the vaccine mostly because neither of my parents will get it, so and I haven't seen them physically in a year. So as soon as I get the vaccine, I'm gonna go down to Florida. And spend a couple weeks down there and see what the hell's going on down there. And so the next thing for me is just to get the comedy thing going again and try to either do a fellowship or get a job writing on a TV show. Leverage those pilots that I wrote and see if I can do something with them.
Great. Well, good luck with those. I hope
Thank
that
you.
works out. Sounds like you wrote a fun pilot. I mean, the funnest pilot about cancer that you could have written. Is there any social media, anything you want to plug? You got Straight People, the podcast?
Straight People, the podcast. It's spelled STR8 PPL is how you spell it, Straight People. But you can find it on any platform, and they're little 20-minute weekly interviews with all kinds of people, not just straight people. But we always talk about straight culture and queerness and how they intersect both positively and negatively sometimes. So it's a lot of fun. It's a very quick little listen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any social media handles?
Aber Comedian on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, I guess.
All the things. Coming soon to Clubhouse.
Yeah, Clubhouse. And then my website is comedyian.com. So,
Okay.
Yep. And that's about it.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
And if you're in
thank
Atlanta,
you.
please, look them up.
Oh, yeah. If you're in
Laughing
Atlanta, come
Skull
see a
and
show because
Come see.
we have some good shows happening.
Funny guy.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the
Thanks
show.
so much,
It's been
Ian.
so nice
Yeah.
to see you again, Ian. And
Thank
all the
you.
very best.
You too. Thank you. Congratulations on your baby and get a haircut.
Oh, thanks.
Wow, I'm so sorry you got abused so much in that episode. Are you okay? I feel like, do I have to report bullying to somebody
Fine.
or?
It is fine. I don't know how it is in the UK, but because the UK comedians are nowhere near as mean to me as the comedians in America were. So I am 100% used to that. So
Oh, well, that's good.
so it's fine. I've gotten thick skin about it.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. How is everything going with you?
Yeah,
Sarah?
I'm good, thank you. I don't know.
What are we talking
I
about?
feel like
You were optimistic. What?
Oh yeah, I've got my
Oh.
vaccination booked tomorrow. That's probably my biggest news, I guess. I'm excited about that. I don't know. It's not a huge amount going on in my life. How about you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think relative to what we spoke about at the beginning. Ruth Bader Ginsburg still no longer
Oh my
with us.
god, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Like, as in, I know it was really traumatic for you at the time.
That sounded very sarcastic. It still sounds very sarcastic. when you say it.
But it was traumatic, and like, are you like, how have you been feeling?
Well, I mean, they replaced her with a terrible woman named Amy Coney Barrett, who is just a real piece of shit, and she'll be on the court for the rest of my life, I guess. I don't know, like for a generation or so. So that sucks, and yeah, that wasn't good. So, and I'd totally forgotten about that until I re-listened to it. It's like, oh yeah, right, that lady.
But if you are feeling bad about that, at least you can remember that you've still got those fantastic green shoes.
Yeah, they're pretty They're still, I don't know. They're still tight. They like, I don't know, if I wear them too long, it really hurts. It was good to get them like half a size up.
Yeah.
The new ones.
Okay, good. Yeah, I feel like they were probably too small then. It's probably the case.
So yeah, so I'd forgotten about that. That was a weird experience, like being like, oh yeah, I remember how fucking awful that felt, and how powerless felt. And then we won an election, so that was pretty all right, but didn't fix.
I feel like you take politics a lot more seriously than me. I kind of like, as in, obviously it means something to me, but at the same time, I feel like stuff is gonna happen regardless of my input. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, like, I don't feel like I'm somehow connected to the politicians and the decisions they're making, whereas I feel like you get really emotionally involved, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think to some extent my obsession with politics is a way to externalize my own anxiety and like be focused on and worried about something else and not focus on my own problem. But there is another element, which is that it is very upsetting that that there are people in power that are just actively terrible, and that really hurts me personally. Not personally, I don't know, it just hurts my heart, because and there is a great deal of I mean, I have a fair amount of privilege, and I could probably just walk away from it if I wanted to, but I don't want to be that. That's just not how I want to be. So mostly I just stress myself out about it, I don't know. And I should probably be involved more in local politics, but I'm still just very much embroiled in American
I guess
politics.
I think that the only way real change is ever going to happen in the world is if it happens on a mass scale with people, like as in just all of us. I think the only time politicians really make changes is when they think that people really want them to make changes. So I think stuff like climate change and all these massive issues are only going to get taken seriously when we're all just like, we will not take no for an answer. You have to change this, otherwise we won't pay taxes or whatever. I don't know, like as in we have to be the ones that actually enforce change. I think politicians just do what they have to do to keep being in power.
Yeah.
But what would I know? I don't really know anything about this stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's just the systems are all feel broken, and they all feel like, I don't know, there's maybe no fixing them. So it's almost it's this whole thing where it's like there are all these entrenched powers, and you're just like, who keeps entrenching these powers? Like, don't we all see that it's all fucked up and terrible? And like, let's just do anything else, not anything else. Let's just move in a more positive direction. Yes, because I'd say anything else, and then we got like terribly close to fascism, and potentially still up in the air. But yeah, so that I'm still a bit more into politics. I'm a little bit less, like, it feels much less like dire these days, and that's probably not at once. It's, I don't know, it's good and bad. I don't know. We can talk more about them other reflections. I'm trying to remember what you had predicted for 6 months. You said things.
I predicted that like COVID would have been bad throughout the winter, but that we'll be sort of coming into spring and that's starting to come out of it. And I feel like that's pretty accurate. Like I feel like we are sort of, there's definitely a sense that we're coming out of it for us in a more real way this time. Like I don't feel we'll go back into lockdown again after we get out of it.
Right.
I don't believe we will. Well, I certainly hope we won't, because it just feels like, oh my God, we can't go back. Yeah, we just can't go back into this again. It's just ridiculous. So I hope that now is the last time, and I feel like it will be.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think I also got on the positivity train, but I was so depressed that I way overcompensated, and was too positive.
Well, right. The good thing is you're bringing it right back down now. So, yay! How are you feeling now about the world and stuff? As in, like, in terms of COVID, do you think we will come out of lockdown and it'll be a bright, sunny future?
I think that I don't know. Yeah. We'll come out of lockdown, but I don't know. I think I'm hoping that lockdown will end. I'm making plans based on the assumption that lockdown.
I told you we're going to Center Parcs, right? I said that we booked a Center Parcs holiday. So lockdown's got to end because I need a holiday. Center Parcs, you know Center Parcs, right?
No, why would I know Center Parcs? What is this?
Center Parcs is like, it's essentially, I guess it's quite a big franchise. They have like cabins in the woods. They have adventure parks throughout. Like there are like tree walks, and there's like massive playgrounds, and there are like aquatic centers with water slides, and it's like set up for kids. It's just it's just awesome, basically, is what it is. And we're going to the one in, where Robin Hood's from, Sherwood Forest. So we're going to Sherwood Forest for a Center Parks adventure in June, and I cannot wait. I'm literally so excited. So lockdown has to be finished because I want to go on the water slides.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. When is that booked for?
Thanks for your really genuine interest in that, Matt. It's booked for June, as I just said, but you weren't listening. So, anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can contact us on 6monthslater at gmail. Oh, is it 6monthslaterpod? 6monthslaterpod at gmail.com. You can support us on Patreon by searching for 6 Months Later. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at 6monthslaterpod. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, thank you for listening. Oh, you can also find me on at Tara NW Comedy, and you can find Matt and his fantastic Twitter feed.
I'm M. Shadorn and all the things. Don't look at my Twitter feed. It's terrible. But I'm not much on social media, but I do make other media, which is I have some other podcasts, including I have another podcast called Saint Misbehavin', where we talk about the lives of different obscure saints. And we just had a episode on a lady who is the Blessed Jean-Marie Damal, and she's a French blessed person who was also the Baroness of Scilly. And so we have lots of fun with that. And we also make a lot of jokes about a croquembouche. We make lots of jokes about a croquembouche. So if you want to listen to the episode, I suggest Googling what a croquembouche is first and then having a real good time with it. Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And we'll see you next week.
In 6 months.
Bye.
Bye. Well, I'm going to have to report you, Matt, and the police will be over any minute now.
No. I swear. It's all above board. I swear.